Blair Lewis, and this is my Module 5. So, starting off with the question of who we are. As a school and as a community, our population is constantly changing. Right now, we are increasing a lot in our diversity. We have gone from about 76% Caucasian to 67%, which is about a 10% decrease. And I would say that most of that increase is coming in our Hispanic population, a little bit in our other population as well. The increase in our Hispanic population leads into that very last circle on the far right of our increase in ELL students. We gained an ELL program 2 years ago, where we have one high school that has an ELL program for just their high school. And then now our high school has the ELL program for the 4 other high schools. So all ELL students from those other 4 high schools come to Olathe East. This has also, in my opinion, made an impact on our economically disadvantaged students. Some of those students fall into both of those categories. But also just the apartments and things near our school has increased our economically disadvantaged to about 25% of those students, which are on what we call free and reduced lunch. That also, these circles give an indication of the community, because the ELL students are probably coming from homes that are English is not their first language. So they end up being more independent, where they have to advocate for themselves because maybe they have parents or grandparents or cousins that can't help them with that English language barrier. So those students also have a completely different view that come into our building on education. How we do business, we have a school climate survey we give every year where teachers get to give their input of things that they like, things that they dislike, things that they think need improving in the school. This year, I'm on the building leadership team, so I get to hear kind of the overarching results of the school climate survey. This year, we definitely heard a lot of needing more discipline and more accountability when it comes to discipline from administration, which then kind of leads into needing more administrative presence in the hallways and in classrooms, and just to make sure that administration is seen and not just in meetings all day. They believe as a staff that we have a strong community surrounding the school, which I completely agree with, that our diversity is continually growing. That's when it comes to demographically, just ethnicity, and then also when it comes to ELL students, and then also when it comes to students on IEPs or students with disabilities. All of those are growing at our school. Teachers believe that we have good longevity between staff members, meaning when staff comes here, they don't tend to leave very quickly. They're typically in it for the long haul, which is great. And then also they made a point to say how many students come back to become teachers. So we have a lot of teachers at our school who once were students, which means they must have had some type of positive experience because then they applied to work here. The social emotional aspect when it comes to our students is, in my opinion, at a critical level. It's not the best. It could definitely improve, but I believe there are a lot of things that have come into play when it comes to why those aren't as good as they could be. We've had a lot of loss over the last 3 years. Last year we had 2 student suicides, and then we also lost 2 teachers last year suddenly, and then we've also, this year, we've had 2 homicides. We've had 2 students killed in shootings, which is very abnormal for the area in which we live in, which definitely completely rocked our kind of world of just safety and making sure kids are at school where they're supposed to be, and just knowing that every day counts. And then we also had 1 student who passed away this year in a car accident. So just a lot of loss over the last couple of years, where I believe that students' social emotional well-being has been something that we need to bring more to the forefront. I think we're doing a good job, but we need to do even more with it. Academically, where we're at now is above the state average in ACT testing. Our building average is a 23.8, where the district average is a 23.9, so really close to the district average. So I think our ACTs are doing pretty good. I'd like to see it increase, obviously, but pretty good for the most part. Most kids, if they want to go to college, can get in, so that's good. The area of concern, I thought, was this bar chart up here on the right. This is our Kansas math assessment scores. And this is broken down into building, state, and then district scores. So the orange and the yellow are level 1 and level 2. You don't want kids to be in level 1 and level 2. That means that they're not college and career ready based off of this assessment. So the green and the blue are like the quote unquote like the good scores. So for our building, we are pretty high in students that are level 1, which is the orange, the really low kids, which is a 33.48% of our population not being college and career ready, and even being like another step below, because level 2 is also not, but we're even further down than that. So that's definitely something we need to improve. And then this little bar that I added at the bottom I thought was interesting, because that is our students on free and reduced lunch. So it's like a subgroup. Over 80% of our students on free and reduced lunch are not ready for college. And I feel like that is a huge disservice, and we need to really work on that. Our mission statement as a school and why we exist: we believe Olathe East provides students with wonderful education and is a safe and caring environment. Students learn and excel at the highest levels academically. So I believe this is something that we're obviously reaching for. It's a mission statement. We have a number 1 priority of student learning, and then I don't know how you want to put it, but the way in which we conduct the student learning is by making students feel that they're in a safe and caring environment. And then our school improvement plan, again, I'm on BLT, so I get to have a little bit more of an up-close look at what our school improvement plan is. It is to decrease the percentage of students failing to meet spring to spring growth on the MAP test. Right now it's at 26%. Well, right now meaning in 2017 it was at 26%. This year we got it down to, I believe, 19%. But we want it to be half, so that would be to 13%, which I think we can totally do this year. Our English language arts actually increased, which is not ideal of the percentage of students that were failing to meet the spring to spring growth. But I think we can totally do it, especially we're adding this Mastery Connect next year. Then our kind of social emotional type things is to increase the percentage of students that respond favorably to 34 to in school. How possible is it for you to change how easily you give up? Right now, only 34% of our students think it's easy to change how they give up, and we want that to be up to 50%. And then our subgroup of Black African American students, we would like them to respond more favorably to when your teachers ask how you're doing, how many of them are genuinely interested in your answer. Right now, only 66% of our Black African American population believe that's true, and we would like it to be 75%. So that's kind of where we would like to be, all the way from where we have come from.